Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Today we're going to look at something a little bit different. This is a Pyro Dutch Flintlock pistol. It's supposed to be a 1-to-1 scale, but I'm questioning the validity of the scale. This was originally produced in 1968, and it's kit number G230-200. The original issue of this kit was in 1966, also by Pyro, and this kit ended up getting issued by a few other companies after Pyro went belly up. So we haven't seen anything from Pyro yet, if I recall. So Pyro was originally founded in 1939 by a gentleman by the name of William Bill Lester and his wife Betty. They initially started out with making plastic parts for other companies. Bill Lester had come up with a way of doing injection molding, and so he was doing contract work for other companies. During World War II, he made parts for airplanes and some other military contracts. And then after the war, he continued making toys on their own. Mainly a lot of space toys were real popular. Doll house parts, things like that. Then in the mid-50s, they started producing model kits. A lot of cars, some motorcycles, a little bit of aircraft, a little bit of military vehicles, some more firearms stuff. There's quite a number of these 1-to-1 scale firearms that they produced. Animals, human figures, some anatomic models. They did a lot of dinosaur models as well. The ship models were initially produced in 1952. They were box scale. A lot of those are now picked up by Lindbergh. For aircraft, the stuff that they produced themselves were 1/32 scale Air Racer series. So they made a GB, a Laird Turner, and a Hall. All three of those, again, have been picked up by Lindbergh now. The rest of their aircraft were ones that were contracted from Impact. So after, let's see, what was it? The type of molding that they were doing was what's called a 2-part mirror mold, and so that allows for everything just split in half. So whatever the object is has to be split in half. But in the mid-60s, side slide molding technique came into play, and that allowed for the molding of one-piece bodies. So since they were heavy into cars, Pyro's cars were made where the bodies were made in 3 parts. So you had your hood, roof, and then you had your side panels, the whole side of the car. And once the side slide molds came out and they were able to make one-piece bodies, that sank Pyro sales significantly. They also loaned out a lot of their molds to other companies, as well as borrowing molds from other places. So you'll see some stuff in their Pyro labels that originally were lifelike. Lionel, Eagle, the Impact I mentioned before. They also did some boxings of Otaki and Palmer kits. Eventually Pyro did buy out Palmer in 1970. But finally in 1972, Bill Lester sold the company and all their existing molds to Lifelike. Lester wanted to pursue developing tamper-proof packaging, and just kind of wanted to get out of the kit business. So everything went over to Lifelike, and Lifelike in some cases just continued boxing stuff, identically to the Pyro stuff. Then gradually started making their own boxings, and then all of that mostly ended up with Lindbergh, and which is now part of round 2. So that's a little bit of a history on Pyro. But this kit here is of a Dutch Flintlock pistol And what's kind of nice is that they do give quite a bit of, or some information about what it is. So it's a copy of a pistol that's at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, handmade by this guy named Leonard Grafe. All ivory stocks are silver mounted, terminating a sculpted head wearing a silver helmet. Barrels profusely and delicately etched, chiseled, and gilded in foliate and classical motifs. So I was able to go onto the Met's website to find out a little bit about it, and some of that information is not completely correct. Like the pistol actually was made in Aachen rather than the Dutch area of Maastricht, which was where most of your Dutch firearms were being made. And it was made sometime between 1675 and 1685, and in what they call the Southern Nederlandish style. It's .52 caliber. Overall length is 19 3/8 inch, and the barrel is 12 3/16 inch, and the weight on it is 2 pounds 3 ounces. So this here says full-size 16-inch model, so being the original is 19 inches, this is somewhat of a scaled-down kit than what the original is. But as you see here, they do have a display rack or stand, so I guess it could be used for both. You could mount it on the wall or have it sitting on the shelf. On this side here, a little bit more information about the pistol and the kit. Additional firearms that are available. A lot of American stuff, but still some other foreign weapons were included. So pretty extensive line of weapons. On the end, we've got repetition of the top box art and kit number. I don't know if this 12 means that it was the 12th firearm that they produced. And that's the other end. Nothing on the bottom. It's a printed on cardboard box. So we'll take a look at the inside. So here we've got our instruction sheet. Rendition of I guess a Dutch soldier, standing in front of a windmill. If it's Dutch, it's got to have a windmill, of course. At least he's not wearing wooden shoes or klompens. Interesting that this does have the lifelike name on here. I wonder if this is actually after this kit was sold to lifelike. Yeah, it could be, since there's no mention anywhere on the box of it being from lifelike. It's all Pyro all over the place. But in what I read, lifelike was continuing some of the stuff, so maybe they were just using up all the boxes they had. But that's lifelike, all right. So we've got the Flintlock mechanism. So it looks like it was actually functional, which is kind of cool. You put in there and then assemble the two halves, and then the lock plate and the hammer. And then the final assembly of the little bits, and then the top of the barrel. And here's some images of some of the other kits that were available of other firearms. Some of these are still being produced today. All right, so as far as the model itself goes, it's molded in this kind of tannish color. I guess that's supposed to replicate the ivory that this pistol was made in. It's got some graining in it. I guess probably try to replicate the grain in ivory. Got some scroll work. And here you can see everything's done in halves. So that's one of the problems that their molding process had later on. And then we have the lock plates with some pretty nice scroll work being done there. It's unusual in that, the butt has got this face on it. That was in gilded silver. Interesting. And this tree has the hammer. This is nicely molded in one large piece. And then here we have the top of the barrel with some pretty fine scroll work on there. Same thing with like the breech area. And here's some of the parts. They got the fake plastic screws. Trigger guard. That's all in one piece. Does have a big fat sinkhole in it. You can see with this other part here, there's a lot of sinkholes in it as well. Then here's the other half. Similar to the first one, with the graining in it. A few loose parts here. It's part of the working mechanism. Here's the spring. And here's the base or stand, the base of the stand. Kind of got a two-tone molding on it here to kind of give it a wood grain look maybe. And here's the parts to hold it. So I guess you could mount it on a wall with that hole, and then it would set on there, or if you have it on the table, then it would set on top of there. So there you have it. Something a little different. So this kit, as I mentioned before, they got sold to Lifelike, and Lifelike did produce a few issues of this. Looks like this may actually be one of the transition ones. So they ended up ultimately producing 3 different issues of this kit, and then Lindbergh reissued it in 2003. And they called it a pirate's pistol. So it's painted differently, or at least the box art rendition of it doesn't have it in this ivory look. It's more looks like wood, and they got a big pirate on there. So that the 2003 date, I think that was when the Pirates of the Caribbean movie had just come out, and everything was pirate. So Lindbergh's trying to capitalize on that. So that's it for this kit. In the outgoing photos, I'll include a photo of the original pistols that are at the Met, and then also the other additional boxings. So have you built one of these Pyro pistols, or any of their weapons that they've got? How'd they end up looking? Were they pretty neat? How functional were they? Looks like this one here, you could do something with it, but in the series, it looks like there's also some revolvers and stuff. So I wonder if how functional those are. So if you had any experience with these, let us know about it in the comment section. And if you got any of these built up, absolutely, send some pictures in so we can include it in the next viewer build video. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and have yourself a great rest of your day.